Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Focus Integration's audio notes on Beyond the Dashboards. For more information on these topics, please visit our website at focusintegration.com.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling really one of the biggest challenges facing the global economy, the skills gap in manufacturing.
And it's accelerating.
It really is.
Yeah.
The sources we dug into this week confirm this isn't some, future forecast anymore. It's a crisis that's hitting the production floor today, every single day.
We're talking about real, tangible costs, higher scrap, lower throughput.
Serious operational risks. And the old advice was always just recruit harder.
Right. Train faster, retain longer.
But the material we analyze says that's just not working anymore. The problem is too big for HR to fix on its own.
It's a system problem.
Exactly. So today we're unpacking what our sources say is the only real long-term solution. It's called a Digital Factory Operating System, or DFOS. Our mission is to really get to the bottom of why this is a systemic crisis.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why can't manufacturing simply hire its way out of this crisis? That's the whole shift in perspective, right? You can't solve a system problem with a staffing solution. It just doesn't scale. The core issue is that you have, 5 major forces all hitting at the same time. It's what the sources are calling a perfect storm.
Okay, so what's the first one?
The first one is probably the most dramatic. It's the retirement cliff. We're talking skilled machinists, maintenance experts, people who have been there for decades.
And when they leave?
They take all that priceless tribal knowledge with them, all the little tricks, the unwritten stuff that keeps a complex line running. It's just gone.
And there's nobody coming in to replace them.
That's the second force. The pipeline is, it's inadequate. A lot of younger workers see manufacturing as, old-fashioned. They want more digital-focused careers.
Which is understandable. But it's a paradox, isn't it? Because the work itself is actually getting more technical.
Exactly. That's a third driver. You've got robotics, AGVs, advanced PLCs. The machines are getting smarter, so the person running them has to get exponentially smarter, too. The cognitive load is much higher.
So you need more skilled people, but fewer skilled people are available.
And on top of that, you have the fourth driver. Market demands, customers, regulators. Everyone expects perfection. Zero downtime, flawless quality.
Which is almost impossible to deliver if your workforce is getting smaller and less experienced.
Impossible. And that leads to the final piece of the puzzle, the fifth driver,
Yeah.
the training bottleneck.
It's just too slow.
Way too slow. The old way of shadowing a veteran operator for 6 months, that doesn't work when turnover is high. It can take years for someone to become a real expert. You just don't have that kind of time.
So you put it all together, and yeah, I see it. You simply cannot recruit your way out of that. That is a grim picture. It's less a labor shortage and more of an institutional brain drain.
That's a great way to put it.
So let's talk about the consequences, the hidden costs. What are the real financial and operational wounds here?
Well, it shows up as what we call the chaos tax. Operationally, you see it right away. More scrap, rework, quality, that's all over the place. Changeovers are a great example. Operator A might do a setup in 20 minutes. Operator B, working off memory, takes an hour and a half.
And that variability just kills your throughput.
It destroys it.
And the sources pointed to something even more dangerous, unsafe improvisations.
Yes. This is a huge hidden danger. A worker doesn't know the right procedure. They can't find a supervisor, so they just try something to keep the line moving.
And that can lead to
Machine damage, quality disasters, or, worst of all, a serious safety incident.
And culturally, this has to be draining. The material suggested it crushes morale.
Absolutely. People don't leave hard jobs, they leave chaotic jobs.
They leave because of the stress.
The constant firefighting, the unclear priorities, the confusion between shifts, it just burns people out.
Which feeds the turnover problem.
It's a vicious cycle, and financially you see it in huge overtime bills and lost orders because you can't scale production. So the big takeaway from all our sources is this. The skills gap is an operational threat, first and foremost. It's not just an HR problem.
Okay, so if the problem is a system problem, the solution has to be a system solution. This brings us to the Digital Factory Operating System, the DFOS. Can you define that for us? Because it sounds like software, but the sources say it's bigger than that.
Yeah, and that's a really vital distinction. It's not just an application you install. It's a new architecture for the entire plant.
An architecture.
Think of it like the central nervous system for the factory. It's the blueprint for how everything is connected and how all work gets done.
So what does it connect?
Everything. The people, the machines, safety systems, quality processes, maintenance, scheduling.
Visual displays on the floor.
The visual displays, the escalation workflows, all the training materials, it all lives on one central platform. But here's its core function. It captures and distributes knowledge in real time. So when a new hire starts, their success isn't totally dependent on who happened to train them that day. It depends on a standardized, reliable system that gives them the right information at the right time. Every time.
I can hear the pushback already, though. This sounds expensive. It sounds complex, especially when things are chaotic and budgets are tight.
Yeah.
How do you justify that kind of investment?
You justify it by calculating the cost of doing nothing, the cost of that chaos tax. The sources frame it as, you either pay the chaos tax forever or you invest once in a system that creates reliability. The ROI comes from preventing just one major quality recall or standardizing one complex changeover. The system can pay for itself very, very quickly by turning those unpredictable costs into predictable savings.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's get back to the biggest loss you mentioned, that tribal knowledge, the little tricks and workarounds that veterans know. How does a DFOS actually stop that from just vanishing?
This is where it gets really interesting. It basically converts a person's memory, which is a liability, into a company-wide digital asset, which is reliable. And it does this in a few ways. First, you take every important task and turn it into a step-by-step digital workflow.
And not just text, I assume.
No, it's documented with photos, with video clips, diagrams. It shows you exactly what good looks like.
So instead of a supervisor saying, watch me, the system is saying, do this.
Precisely. Second, it builds in digital checks, or gates. If a critical safety check has to be done, the system won't let you move to the next step until you digitally confirm you've done it.
So it's not just standardization, it's enforced standardization.
Exactly. Third, all those expert pro tips.
Like always check the tension screw on the Model 400.
Right. That tip gets embedded directly into the digital instructions right at step 3 for the Model 400. It's not lost. And fourth, all of this lives in a single source of truth. One place. No more binders.
No more different standards on different shifts. That's a huge deal for risk and compliance. But let's talk about speed. Manufacturers need people to be competent in weeks, not years. How does this system actually accelerate learning?
It's like an operational GPS for the worker. It guides them, and it removes the two biggest barriers to learning: confusion and the fear of making a mistake.
And the results?
Some sources suggested it can cut onboarding time in half, sometimes even more. First, the visual instructions just eliminate ambiguity. You see what to do. Second, the guided workflows physically prevent you from making a mistake before it happens.
That seems like a huge psychological benefit right there. It takes the stress out of being new.
It absolutely does. Third, you get real-time feedback. The interface shows you how your performance compares to the standard, so you're constantly learning and improving.
You're closing that learning loop instantly.
Instantly. Fourth is standardization. Every worker gets the exact same best practice training, no variation. And finally, something for the supervisors, an integrated skills matrix.
What does that do?
It automates workforce planning. It tracks everyone's proven skills, so a supervisor knows instantly who is qualified for what job.
Wow. That must take a massive burden off of them.
A huge one.
Okay, let's move to the shop floor itself. Our sources really focused on these large digital visual displays. What do they look like, and how do they change how work gets done minute to minute?
They turn the factory from a place of questions into a place of answers. These are dynamic dashboards, not static signs. They're showing real-time information.
Like what?
Everything you need. Safety status, quality alerts, your schedule, and tact time goals for the day. And crucially, and on calls.
Can you explain and on calls for our listeners?
Sure. It's basically a digital call for help. Instead of a worker leaving their station to find someone, they hit a button. The and on alert flashes on the screen, and the system automatically notifies the right support team.
So there's no more hesitation, no more searching for a supervisor or a binder. You just look up and the answer to what's next, or are we behind, is right there.
Exactly. It just removes all that friction. And that clarity is what makes it such a powerful partner for automation.
Let's talk about that. Automation handles the physical labor, the heavy lifting, the repetitive stuff. So where does DFOS fit in?
DFOS handles the cognitive labor around the automation. The robot might do the heavy lifting, but the DFOS guides the human on how to set up that robot.
How to do maintenance on it.
how to troubleshoot a fault, how to check the quality of what the robot is producing. It provides the knowledge wrapper,
So they're a force multiplier together.
a massive one.
Yeah.
You get a factory that runs with fewer people, but with far greater reliability.
Okay, final piece. Scalability. The sources argue that without a system like this, companies end up with, I think the term was plant snowflakes.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. 5 plants, 5 different ways of doing everything, 5 different sets of KPIs.
Which makes it impossible to scale or expand effectively.
Completely.
Yeah.
A DFOS enforces that standardization at scale. If you open a new plant, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You deploy the same proven workflows, the same dashboards, the same training on day one.
So you're standardized in success.
You're making quality and throughput truly scalable, whether your plant is in Boston or Boise.
We've covered a lot on efficiency, but I want to circle back to the people. How does all this standardization and clarity actually help with morale and keeping the people you have?
Well, like we said, people leave chaos. DFOS directly attacks the root causes of that chaos. The unclear priorities, the fear of mistakes, the constant firefighting.
It makes the work environment less stressful.
Much less. When workers feel supported and competent, their job satisfaction goes way up. They know that if they follow the system, they will succeed.
So they trust the system.
They embrace it because it makes their jobs easier and safer, and that leads directly to better performance and, critically, better retention. A good system creates a good work environment.
Okay, this has been incredibly clarifying. We started with this huge, complex skills crisis. And it seems like relying on the old recruitment playbook is, well, it's a losing strategy.
It is.
So what does this all mean? The conclusion from the sources we read is pretty clear. Manufacturers cannot hire their way out of this. They have to design their way out.
That's the bottom line.
And the digital factory operating system is that design. It's the blueprint. It captures knowledge, it distributes it perfectly, it standardizes behavior, and it makes new people good at their jobs fast. It shifts success from depending on one person's memory to depending on the reliability of the whole system.
And that systematic approach is what's going to separate the winners from the losers in the next decade of manufacturing.
A really compelling conclusion to this deep dive. Thank you for walking us through all of that.
My pleasure, and thank you, the listener, for tuning in. Before we go, here's a thought to chew on for the week. If manufacturing can solve its knowledge drain by converting that tribal knowledge into visual, systemic workflows, what other industries could use this same approach? Think about fields that struggle with high turnover and complex skills. Specialized healthcare, maybe? Construction? Even complex food service? What could they learn from this better systems approach to preserving their own critical skills?
That is a fascinating question. A lot to think about there. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Focus Integration's audio notes on Beyond the Dashboards. For more information on these topics, please visit our website at focusintegration.com.